I recently wrote my final exams for my postgrad in accounting, and without doubt, these have been the most pressurized, the most difficult, and the most important exams I've ever written. More pressurized and more difficult than my matric exams. And just to put it into perspective, just how thorough the testing was and how crazy the circumstances were. We had to write for exams for 4 modules. So we wrote on Monday, Wednesday, over 2 weeks. But on each day we would write 2 exams, right? And each exam would be 30 minutes reading time, 2.5 hours of writing. So we'd sit down for a total of 3 hours per exam, and we write 2 exams in one day. So we'd sit down from 8:30 to 11:30, and then we'd have an hour's break, and then we'd write from 12:30 to 3:30. So we were writing the whole day. And never mind the fact that, we were sitting down for so long, and my neck was sore, and just the pressure of just sitting there is just insane itself. The actual test we were writing, the content we're being tested on, was so much, and it was at such a high level that without doubt I could feel the pressure, right? Like the accounting we were being tested on was all the accounting, from the basic accounting we learned in high school till college, when we got into college and we got our degrees, everything from there and everything that we've learned this year, all put together. And these are all concepts we need to learn at because we're going to become chartered accountants. So it's a very specialized area of practice. So you need to know what you're doing. And so these exams were basically everything. This is the highest level we've ever been tested at, and it's in these circumstances where we're writing for 6 hours a day while we're there from really 7:30, preparing for exams and everything from 7:30, and we leave probably at 4. So it's a whole day. You're there for 8 hours just stressing, writing, and trying to perform your best. And nevertheless, to say these exams have definitely been very pressurized, and we felt the pressure. So sitting down to write the pressure, it's everything you've learned comes down to this moment, right? Because I've got my degree from the first 3 years I studied, but this year, this postgraduate degree is the most important, and it's kind of the last time we'll be studying, because we'll write board exams and everything. But after this is if we were to put the picture of becoming a chartered accountant onto a picture, postgrad is the top of the hill, right? It's climbing over the top of the hill. So once you get over the hill, once you get after postgrad, it's still hard. Obviously, articles are still hard, but it's less stress compared to postgrad. So this is all just to say that I felt the pressure sitting down and writing exams. You could feel the pressure every time. And the way I've learned to deal with pressure, right? And I say deal with pressure, I haven't gotten my marks yet, so I don't know how I did, but I managed. I didn't I don't feel like I crumbled. And the way you stop that feeling of crumbling is that whenever you're in any pressure situation, including exams, you need to just let the stimuli be, right? You're feeling everything. You're feeling the pressure of your heart is racing, you're stressed, your neck is sore, the questions I don't know what they're asking. There's so many marks that they want to ask us to answer, so many questions they want us to answer for so many marks. It's just the first thing you want to do, that you just feel inclined to do, is to fight the stimuli and be no, just ignore it or whatever. Stop, just chill. Okay, you feel it, just let it be. Just be okay, I feel the stress. And stress, again, it's not the nicest feeling in the moment, but you can just sort of reframe it and say, this is I wouldn't say excitement, because you're dreading writing the exam, but it's more of your brain is realizing just how important this is, and it's providing you with the necessary energy, right, to keep moving. And if that energy is not properly conducted to be productive, it can cause you, you felt it, right? It can cause you to just be all over the place. It can cause chaos. You can freeze. And it's just important to reframe that stress you're feeling, right? Your heart racing and everything. It's energy that's being produced by your body. And the evolutionary explanation for that is that your brain realizes that this is important, right? So it's giving you energy to be okay, do with this what you need, right? You need the energy so you can actually perform. Now channel that energy. Find a way to channel that energy, right? To focus on what it is you need to do. And that energy it can be used in multiple ways. And I know for me, writing these exams, we have to write really, really fast. You have to think fast, and you have to write really fast, because you're not going to have enough time to finish. And that's one example of where your energy is put, right? So you just need to sort of be okay, the stress it's meant to be good. It's meant to be a good thing. So let me just reframe it. Let me look, and you need exam technique. Obviously, we've skipped past the part where you need to prepare for your exams. You need to be well prepared. You need to have done a couple of, well, depending on what you're doing, you need to have done a couple. You need to have done a lot of exam papers, past exam papers. But you need to be prepared. Okay, that's one thing. But once you're in, you're still gonna feel this, and you don't want to crumble. You know you've got enough, especially for us. Like who've made it through post grad. We know that we've got enough. Like our lecturers told us at the start of the year that if you've got your degree and you've made it to postgrad, you've got the goods, right? No one's too stupid to pass PGDA, which is postgrad diploma in accounting. No one's too stupid to pass it. So you've got the goods, and it's the same thing here. And when you're sitting down to write your exams, it's you know enough to get the mark you need. Unless you need like a 70 or something, which if you need a 70 for your exam, you probably didn't make CAS to write the exam. But anyways, you've got the goods. You know enough to get like a 50, a 55, a 60. You know enough. It's just about channeling that energy, just composing yourself. So we've spoken about you obviously need preparation, which I can make another video about that. But you also need to have exam technique, right? And exam technique is just knowing like what you're gonna do, knowing where to get what you need to do to not lose out on stupid marks, and etc. Right? And again, with pressurized exams like the ones we were writing, you're almost writing until the last second. Right? So it's important to start with your strengths, and that's usually what I like to do. You want to start with your strengths. You want to start with those questions that you know I'm going to get the marks, right? And you start with those, and then you know if you're going to run out of time on any question, you want it to be on a question you're not so sure about, but you want to get those marks, those easy marks, right? My lecturer called them Bansela marks. It's just basically they're just easy marks, right? You want to get those, and it's just things like that. You follow your exam technique. And when you're sitting in there, I think the most important thing you need to know is that, okay, you've got exam technique down, you've prepared, you've got the goods to pass the exam. Now it's just about reframing that all the stimuli you're feeling. And if you're feeling, and this applies for anything you do, even like someone and I learned this from watching a video about sports, right? There's this guy called Sam Martin who makes like mentality videos about sportsmen. And the one I learned was from Novak Djokovic, right? It was like a 6-minute video he's made, and he was just speaking about how Djokovic went from being, the nearly man, you'd always get to like a semi-final or a final, and then you just crumble. Tennis, I think there was a thing where people thought, oh, once he made it past like the 6th set or something like that. In tennis you play a certain number of sets, and if you're still drawing, then you keep playing, and the game just extends. And it was basically Novak was known for like faking injuries if the game got too long, right? And you can kind of see the parallels with that in like writing long exams. It's like you just want to get it over and done with, and you can feel what he's feeling, right? You can imagine what he's feeling. It's just like, oh, this is so long. There's so much pressure. I just want to hide from it. I don't want to like do it. And the way he's sort of transformed himself from that to being, in my opinion, the greatest player of all time for tennis. He's got the most like big titles, right? He's completely transformed himself, and now he performs. He's known as like the mentality guy in tennis, and it's just such a stark difference from being the guy with like one of the weakest mentalities in professional tennis to being the guy with the strongest mentality. I think there's a lot to learn from that. You go watch the video if it interests you. I think it would be very beneficial. But it's where I learned this, and it's just what he learned was that when he's about to serve, or just when he's playing, he's going to feel like all the pressure. He's going to feel all the thoughts saying, what if I miss? And that's one of the things you should not entertain. You shouldn't entertain those thoughts of like, oh, what if I fail? What if I get this wrong? Because that just puts you away from like the goal, right? He gets those stimuli of like, oh, what if I miss? And he's got the crowd, screaming like Nadal's name, his opponent's name or whatever. And it's just so much pressure, and it's like, I've put in so much work to get here. I'm so tired, my leg is sore, whatever it is. Like, there's all this stuff that's just coming, that's just telling you to quit. And the way he learned to deal with that was to just chill, like just let them be. Let them be. You're feeling them, and it's fine. Just do it anyways, right? If, like, for example, I'm using the Novak example, right? When he's serving, instead of thinking like, oh, what if I miss, yada yada, just be like, okay, I'm here. I'm feeling these stimuli. And another way you can do it is that you are not your thoughts, right? So you kind of want to take yourself out, paint a picture of like you standing here and you're facing your thoughts, just to remind yourself that you're separate from your thoughts. And that's kind of what you're doing. You're just watching your thoughts, right? Your thoughts are just going everywhere. You're thinking about all the stimuli that are coming your way. You should just watch them. Just be like, okay, like you're there, I'm here. They're not part of you. They're not you, right? You can still do what you need to do in spite of those thoughts being there. And that's the same thing with like Novak. What he'd say is that like he's feeling the stimuli and everything, and he just lets them be. Like he just lets them be, and he just focuses on his serve that he's done thousands of times in practice. You just focus on that, and you just do. You just do what you normally do. And you'll hit the rhythm, and then you'll keep going. And it's the same thing with exams, right? You're gonna feel all the stimuli and everything. Just carry on. Just read the question, and then be like, okay, I know this section. I know this, and that about this section. And then you start, and then you sort of hit a flow. And once you hit a flow, you don't want to stop. You just keep going, and you just keep going. And that's sort of how you beat the pressures and the stress of exams, if I can put it that way. But yeah, make sure you subscribe to join the Self-Improvement Brotherhood, and until next time, see you boys.